Now that we're through the tour of the admin interface and we're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable here inside WordPress, I would love to kind of switch gears here for a minute and talk about customizing WordPress to a certain extent. We're not going to be, scratch building our own templates or anything that hardcore, but at least setting up some basic blog options. I want to talk about themes as well. We'll get to that in just a little while. And just kind of all around sort of general options for your blog. So the first thing that I want to do, because you and I have brand new, fresh installations of WordPress, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go and customize our profile. That's usually the first thing that you want to do here in WordPress. And I'm sure you've seen this at the top of the screen here. It says, you're using the auto-generated password for your account. Would you like to change it to something that you'll remember? That's a little bit easier to remember. And I can say, yes, take me to my profile page. Or what I could do is on the left-hand side, I could just head into Users and then click on Your Profile, and that'll bring you to the same page here. Okay, so let's talk about the settings here inside this screen. So again, just into Users and then down into Your Profile. Now, first of all, this first option here won't make a whole lot of sense just yet, but they're talking about something called the Visual Editor. When you and I are creating new blog posts, we have two editors that we can work with. We have the Visual Editor, which is obviously a visual interface, or we have an HTML editor. So we can actually either hand code in HTML or we can paste in HTML from somewhere else. Maybe we've designed something in Dreamweaver and we want to copy all that code and paste it into the WordPress HTML editor. So that's the option here. I can say disable the visual editor when writing. So in other words, I would be working with the HTML editor. Now that's up to you. If you're very comfortable with HTML and you only want to use the HTML editor, that's fine. I usually leave this guy turned off though, but it's entirely up to you. Okay, below that, the admin color scheme. So it's a heavy duty option here if you want to change the color of the admin interface here in WordPress. If this gray has got you down, well, then go with blue, because blue is so much more cheery than gray, isn't it? So anyway, I don't even bother with that. You can set that up if you want. Anyway, keyboard shortcuts. Enable keyboard shortcuts for comment moderation. You can turn that guy on if you want. We'll get into our comment moderation in a little while. Below that, our username, admin. We can't change the username. So unfortunately, if you typed in something goofy there, or you want to change it or whatever, you would have to delete this user and go and create a new one. And actually, as a side note, that's not a bad idea. So a lot of times what WordPress users will do as sort of a security measure is they'll get rid of the default user and they'll go and create a new one and then trash the old default user here for WordPress. So that's something that we'll talk about in due time. We'll get into adding users and creating new users and so on. But for the time being, I'm going to leave admin here. But for my first name, I'll put in my first name, and for my last name, I'll put in my last name. And for my nickname, I'll put in the nickname they gave me in grade 4. And no, I won't discuss exactly what that means. But anyway, below that, we have the display name publicly as. And what I can do there is I can decide how I want to be presented on the live blog. So do I just want to show admin? So in other words, oftentimes you'll see this when a post has been authored, and it'll say this post has been authored by, and then I can decide to put in the username, which is up at the top here, or the first name, the last name, both first name and last name, or the nickname there. Well, I don't want the nickname to get out. That's just between you and I, right? So I'm just going to go with my first name here, Jeff. And in different areas of the live blog, this is where this is going to show up. So anyway, hopefully all good. Okay, now below that, we have our email address. So I just put mine in there, jeff@10tonbooks.com. I can put in my website if I want as well. I always do the http://www.10tonbooks.com. If I had an AIM account, I could pop in my AIM info. Same with the Yahoo IM. Same with the Google Talk or the Jabber. I could stick that content in there as well. This is all optional, though. You don't have to stick it in there. And then down towards the bottom, we have biographical info. So what you can do is you could type out a couple of sentences about yourself, who you are, maybe a little bit about your background, any technical training you've done, this kind of stuff. And this information may show up publicly on your blog. So depending on the theme that's actually driving the look and feel of your blog, the bio info may show up. For example, maybe on an author page or something like this, right? So if you want, you can go and drop something in there if you like. I'm going to leave mine blank for the time being. And then here we have our new password. And this is really where we started this whole discussion, because across the top of the admin interface, it's asking me if I want to change this password, right? So I can come in here and I can type in my new top secret password. And what's cool is I have this strength indicator here. And I typed in a very weak password, just something that I would remember here. But in the real world, you'd want to have something, you know, kind of crazy and kind of, you know, certainly out there and certainly a little bit more involved, you know, something maybe like that, you know. Anyway, I'm just going to type it in characters here. But anyway, you want to mix it up with special characters and uppercase, lowercase, and, you know, all that good stuff. So anyway, I'm going to type in my password here just for my training purposes here. And then don't forget to click on Update Profile. Otherwise, all of your changes will cease to be applied. So anyway, there you go. There's setting up your profile. Hopefully no big deals. I get a message at the top here. User is updated. So all good there. So there's kind of a first look anyway at some of the things you can do to start to customize your WordPress blog. Now, what we've done here really won't impact the live side of our blog here in any grand way, but we'll get into affecting this live blog in just a moment. There's a few other little things I want to show you first, though.